Spokane listens when business talks. Welcome to Business Talks, the region's only local business talk show with your host, Ryan McNeese. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Now, let's get down to business with Business Talks.
Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeese, and we're here in the studio with Sather Gowdy, founder of Heal Spokane, also second-year law student at Gonzaga Law School. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Sather, I was really struck recently. I had an opportunity to hear you speak, and when you told your story, I immediately wanted an opportunity to hopefully have this chance to have you come in the studio and tell it so we could get the word out about what you're doing here in Spokane.
Thank you.
You're a busy guy already, being your second year in law school, right?
It's no joke.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work,
But let's jump in. While you're as busy as you are in law school, you found the time to create Heal Spokane. But equally, if not more important, is how did we get there?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how this came to fruition.
So in some ways, it was kind of a necessity. So last October, I had like a really, really bad month. Probably the worst month of my life. You know, I was in a car accident, so it totaled my car, left me with a shoulder injury and a little bit of concussion. I had two really dear friends of mine pass away, which is just heartbreaking in of itself. And then my relationship with the girl that I thought was the one, it ended pretty poorly. And that just left me really in a dark place, man. I've always wanted to be a lawyer. It's been my dream. I was that weird 7-year-old kid. We're playing cops and robbers, and they're like, oh, arresting him. And I'm like, he needs a defense. I'll be his lawyer.
Somebody needs a lawyer.
Exactly,
here.
right? Due process, right? But I felt that dream kind of slipping away. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go to class. I didn't want to take part in the things that I liked.
And you're probably questioning, this is odd for me. Why do I not have this energy?
And I'm a pretty optimistic, generally happy person, and so I wasn't used to just waking up every morning being angry, waking up being hurt, And one of those days I was pacing in front of my house because I'm a pacer, and just kind of being upset. And a neighbor of mine asked me if I could spend some time to come over and help her carry in some groceries. And even, at my angriest, I'm not going to say no to a nice, sweet old lady, And so went over there and spent about 45 minutes carrying groceries into her house.
You're thinking, how many groceries does one person have?
I don't know what she was doing with all this food. I have no idea where it went, but carried a lot of groceries. And I hadn't really talked to her before. I didn't really know many of my neighbors. So helped her out. And afterwards, I started walking home, and I stopped just right in the middle of the street. And it just struck me suddenly that for that 45 minutes or so, it was the only time that I wasn't hurting, and I wasn't mad, and I wasn't angry. And it was the only time that month that I'd been happy.
But I think that introspection that you're actually identifying, almost this epiphany that, why am I feeling different right now?
And I wish I could say more that it was intellect or something like that, but it struck me like a thunderbolt. And it was just, I realized that I wasn't hurting. I was walking across the street, standing upright instead of just being angry. And so at that moment, I was like, I'm going to take whatever pain and anger that I have, whatever grief that I have, and I'm going to repurpose it. It's like any other form of energy, right? It takes time in your day, and I'm going to repurpose that into positive action for somebody else. I think, we can't avoid hurt in our lives. Everyone's going to hurt at some point. But there's a lot of power in saying, I'm going to take that and make it worth something, make it benefit somebody. And so I decided then that I was going to do an active service every day for somebody. Started out picking up trash. And
I was going to say, what in that first 24, 48, 72 hours, how did you come to the decision of how I'm going to start this?
The hardest part was getting outside, just getting up, getting outside, and I was standing out in front of my house, and I said, what am I going to do? And behind my house, there was an alleyway, and over the years, people had thrown a lot of trash, and I just started picking up trash and putting it in a bag. And by the end of the week, I had mattresses stacked up against the other garages. I had pulled out old chairs, old ironing boards. I had just cleaned, and then I started fixing fences for neighbors. I didn't know anything about fence fixing, but YouTube is amazing.
You can almost find
learn
anything,
right? and mowing lawns for people, and then in the winter started shoveling snow. And so pretty much every single day since that day in October, I've done an active service for somebody. Except for there were 2 days where I had the flu. Not being around people, I think, was an active service. Right?
In and of itself.
But I thought it was going to be kind of a personal thing. I'm in some ways, I'm an only child, so I like attention, but I'm also kind of private. And this hurt was new to me, and I didn't know how to express it, and I didn't know if it was okay to be feeling like that, so I wanted to kind of keep it to myself. And maybe 5 other people, my parents and such.
Right.
But I got some really, really generous news coverage. Someone found out about it and told some of the news people, and since then it exploded. People being excited that someone was out doing acts of service and turning that kind of pain into something.
In a sense, that paying it forward that we hear. And oftentimes you hear individuals saying, well, I personally, I don't have the time for that, or I don't have the, or, the number of excuses we could all come up with. But you're a perfect example of the excuse of saying I don't have the time for it. Second year in law school, you could arguably say you don't have time for much of anything, and yet you're making time for this.
Well, some of it is born out of necessity. I needed something to do with that anger because it was eating me up. It was devouring me, and I'm a huge Winston Churchill fan. That's someone who I've taken a lot of inspiration from. And he has a quote where he talks about how attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. And I just wanted to look at the situation differently because I was tired of hurting. I was tired of having that pain. And so I just started doing these service things. And after people found out about it, people wanted to get involved. People wanted to donate money and all those sorts of things. And before I wanted to take any donations, I was like, I need to figure out a system, because I suddenly found myself with a platform and I didn't want to squander it, because I think not everybody gets a chance to make an impact.
And that's interesting too, Sather, where you realized I do have a voice. People are listening. People are gravitating towards what you're doing. So what decisions did you make to potentially solidify what you were doing?
Yeah, well, first thing's wise counsel, right? So I talked to a number of people, a couple of professors at my school, about what's the best way to go about doing this. Like, what should I even do? I want to be a criminal defense attorney. I have no idea anything about the charitable works and things like that. So they suggested I start a nonprofit. So after looking into that and getting some amazing help from the Business Law Clinic, from a couple students, one my good friend Pierce and another friend Jill, and then also a guy named Steve Faust, who's just amazing.
Absolutely. Steve does a great job.
Awesome. They helped me through this process, all the paperwork, all the filing and such, and we are officially a nonprofit.
Okay, so the fundamentals and principles, the foundation of this nonprofit is set up with Secretary of State.
It is.
And so the official name is Heal Spokane, correct?
Yep.
And then let's show the shirt, though. We got hashtag Heal Spokane, and I've been begging for a shirt as well.
I'm going to get you a shirt.
Okay.
I'll get you a white one and a black one.
Perfect.
But it's been amazing because so what we've tried to do is focus initially on the grassroots type of service. So getting people out there, raking lawns, doing anything you can with your hands, getting your hands dirty, meeting people in the community where they live and affecting change.
Have you talked to the individual that you assisted with the groceries day one that somewhat led to this epiphany?
I see her a lot now. What's really cool about this is now I know all of my neighbors. I know their kids. I know we joke around and say hi and bring their gifts at Christmas and such. It's been really cool and it's opened my community. So I talk to her every day. I actually saw her yesterday. She babysits her granddaughter. Her granddaughter's just a super cute little kid. And so I definitely always say hi. She's got these wonderful flowers that I always comment on because her yard looks on point.
Perfect.
It's on point. So
how have you been able to work this into your already busy schedule with a budding legal career and law school responsibilities?
Time management doesn't come naturally to me, so I'm definitely learning continually. But I'm a firm believer that you can make time for anything, right? We have a certain amount of hours of the day, but if you decide to prioritize something, it's going to be a priority. And so I'm going to do an active service every day, and that's just a part of my day. And so while sometimes it's hard, I go speak at a lot of elementary schools and high schools around the city. I've done, I think, 20.
Have you really?
Yeah, and it's my favorite thing that we do. I love seeing these kids get excited about serving others, and I love hearing from their parents or their teachers all the things they've been doing since I went and kind of challenged them to get out there and be involved. But it does take up time, right? Law school, homework, it never ends.
It never ends. I think that's part of the challenge is probably getting used to the fact and dealing with the fact that it never ends.
Accepting the fact that you're never done, right? Yeah. But they say, one of the first days of law school, they told us you have to find other things to do, keep yourself a human.
Yeah.
And so my thing has been getting out there, trying to find a way each day to help somebody, and sometimes it's small.
But that's interesting to say there, because I agree that logic of to make your way through anything that's difficult, whether it be law school or any other life struggle, you do have to find things outside of the core of what you're doing, and that you were almost realizing that in and of itself in October that you needed something more, and you found it.
Yeah, and I'm a person of faith, and so I think God played a role in it for me, especially. I can't take credit for the idea that it just hit me. It suddenly was like this. It became very clear that this was a way for me to kind of heal my own wounds through healing a community that I care about. Spokane's been good to me.
And do you think you would have got to that precipice if you hadn't been hurting as much as you were?
I have always thought service is important. I want to be a public defender. I want to. I want to defend people's rights. I want to serve the poor and the disenfranchised. I plan to be the best criminal defense attorney of all time. So I want to use those skills to help people. But I think there is a truth that says sometimes you can't see the brightest light without the darkest dark.
That's true.
And I don't want those issues and things I experienced to define me. And I think I've done a pretty good job of utilizing the tools that I've had and the support systems of people that love and care about me to turn those instances into something that's really making a difference.
It's really exciting. And like I said originally, when I first had the opportunity to meet you, you're, like you said, taking something that was a dark period of time in your life and really explaining that the brightness that has come from it. It catches, I can assure you. Awesome. So when I first had the opportunity to meet you, that's why I was excited to hear your story. Really. Let's take a short little break and come right back and talk to Sather Gowdy of Heal Spokane, a really inspiring, exciting story here locally.
Is your child having trouble coping with a personal disability, but don't know where to go? Consider our friends at Breakthrough Incorporated. Breakthrough takes great pride in mentoring their DDA clients who have intellectual disabilities and their BRS clients who have challenging behaviors toward the creation of safe, appropriate, ethically sound life goals. They integrate programs at school and home to enrich their lives. They work hard to make a positive difference in you and your family's lives. Breakthrough provides a highly structured, fully staffed residential setting in local neighborhoods. 6 in Spokane and 2 in the Tri-Cities. Diagnoses affect people differently, so their service to each resident is unique, giving them the opportunity to grow and evolve. For more information on Breakthrough, visit their website at breakthroughincorporated.org.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
Welcome back to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeese here in the studio with Sather Gowdy of Heal Spokane. And right before the break, we were talking about the challenges that, interestingly, have allowed you to overcome those challenges and look for these real bright spots in your life that have led to so much healing, I think, of others. What are some of the current things that other challenges you've gone through that have kind of led to this?
So one of the best parts of Heal Spokane has, for me, has first been seeing reactions from students that I talk to, getting kids excited about helping people.
These are classmates or students, you mean?
Both, actually.
Okay.
My law school classmates have been super supportive. I'm always a little bit embarrassed about, I don't know, I like attention, as everybody does, but this is...
Especially when it's good attention, right?
Exactly,
I mean,
that's
for a good
the best
cause.
kind of attention.
Right.
But it's something that, I don't know, I get a little embarrassed sometimes, I suppose.
Well, it's being
in the spotlight a little is different.
It's rational because this is something that you've put a lot of effort and blood, sweat, and tears into, and it has got attention for all the right reasons. Yeah. And so maybe you're a little bit shying away.
And I think one thing as well is, I know that for a fact, for Heal Spokane to do what I want it to do, to heal this city, to help people, it has to be more than just about me. It's going to take our whole community coming together, recognizing the healing power of service, the importance of being kind to people, and just doing those little acts. And I don't want this to become the Sather Show.
Well, actually, that's a good point that you're bringing up. Is as an organization progresses, you kind of have the beginning stages of any entity, nonprofit or for-profit. And there are different stages. There's the beginning, there's the potential growth, there's the kind of cruising along, and the idea of where are we going with this. You're at the beginning stages. Where do you foresee bringing in other folks to assist with this?
Well, what's been great is getting the opportunity just to meet people like in the Spokane School District, these teachers that care about their students and learning these kindness things. Speaking with local community leaders and other people that have just offered their support, saying, hey, this is a great thing you're doing. But I also know I'm smart enough to know that there are areas of the city and areas of need that I don't know much about. So I have some good friends that are veterans, and I want to help homeless vets. So instead of just taking an approach that just I'm going to throw something out there and just try to do something.
Right.
I want to get wise counsel. I want to talk to these people and say, hey, what's the best way that my organization, that Heal Spokane, this group of people that really care about the city, how can we help?
Right.
Ask. I think that's a question that has to be asked, right? You have to ask the people, how do you need to be served? I think we all come in with kind of notions about what we can do to make a change, but I think what's important is to remain humble,
right,
and not be afraid to say, hey, I don't know the exact way that's best to help you. How can I help you?
Well, and there's so many different areas, as you're indicating, so many areas of need, whether it be our veterans, whether it be homeless, whether it be underprivileged individuals and educate. There are so many channels, but I think that's what's exciting about a name or a brand, if you will, like you are starting, Heal Spokane.
Yeah.
It is over-encompassing and could go in so many different directions.
That's great because everyone can get involved. I think generally people want to help. People want to give back, and people want to take care of people in our community. But I think oftentimes we get stuck at, like, how do I help? How do I make a difference?
And does it already have a 501c3 status?
It does, yeah.
So you really have it. I mean,
going through the process has been really interesting.
You've checked a lot of boxes.
Yeah, it's not a kind of law that I really ever knew much about. But again, the legal clinic at Gonzaga has been amazing. And so we have a website, healspokane.com, and you can donate if you'd like. People would be great.
Absolutely.
And for a $20 donation, we like to thank people by sending them a shirt.
That's
We
perfect.
have a white one and a black one.
Okay, so you have the Heal Spokane website. Is it Heal Spokane?
Healspokane.com.
Do you have the .org as well?
No, we do not have a .org. But we do have a Facebook group. You can find it, and that's been pretty cool that, something I thought 5 people were going to know, I think has over 500 people that are involved. And it's so great when people post about what they're doing, or people send me messages saying, hey, I went out and just did this. And a lot of people don't like to be, like, mentioned about, what they're doing. But I have more messages than I can go through in a day, from people saying, hey, I was in the parking lot and I helped someone push their cart, back into the cart holder, or I bought this, or I did this for somebody. It's really cool to see. That's my favorite part, is seeing other people take up the mantle.
Well, and to me, the psychology is fascinating, that both ends of that give and take are so important. That psychology of the giving and the psychology of the receiving. About 2 weeks ago, I rolled around went through the drive-thru at Arby's, and I got up there, and the individual that was leaned out the window and just said, "You're good to go. The people in front of you paid for you."
That's awesome.
I didn't even know who they were.
Right.
And by the time I knew that, they'd already circled. I didn't even get a chance to see the car. It was literally just the classic random act.
How long ago was that?
2 weeks ago.
And you still remember it right
now.
now.
Yeah, I remember that
that's the
forever.
effect it has. Little things like that can change somebody's day. It can change someone's life.
Yeah, they said, I think they'd indicated, they said, I'm just having a good day and I want to pass it on. And I'm talking about it today.
Yeah.
And I think it's the whole idea of what you're describing, is both sides of that equation can massively benefit from just a little bit of act of kindness.
And seeing the people being so excited to get involved and so supportive. This has been an amazing journey so far, and I like to see it continue. I'm gonna be leaving the country for a little bit, going on a study tour to Florence, Italy.
Oh, you're
the
doing
school,
that this
so
summer?
I'm very excited.
Oh, good for you.
But my board, I have an amazing group of board members of all people in the community. Some people I go to law school with as well, and we have some good things planned for when I'm gone to kind of keep it going and to reach out and do some more service stuff. And then when I get back, we're gonna start doing some big service projects. We got some things in the works.
So you got some items on the list that you are really going to push forward.
Yeah.
And as you're pushing into your third year of law school, a lot of changes in your own life. I think you indicated, I think even today, you'd hit a milestone.
Yeah, so getting out and, being out every day and serving and stuff. And a nice little side benefit of that is I've lost 196 pounds as of today. So that's been pretty cool.
That is fascinating. If folks have an opportunity to find you online, I think you posted some
There's
pictures.
a couple before and after photos.
It really is phenomenal. I mean, to see how you've done that, and by perseverance, which clearly is poured over into these other areas that we've been talking about.
Yeah, again, Winston Churchill, my boy. And he has I'll drop another quote if you don't mind. He was giving a speech in front of Congress right as America got into the war, and kind of a rousing speech. And he says that we are the masters of our fate, that the task before us is not above our strength. Its pangs and toils are not beyond our endurance. And as long as we have faith in our cause and an unconquerable willpower, salvation will not be denied us.
And that is a perfect one, because I think, as you've described really well, back in October of 2017, you probably felt like you didn't have that.
I didn't know. I was
energy.
Lost. I was lost. I didn't have anything.
And then you made a conscious decision, or a conscious decision was made in the universe, if you will, to really change your life.
Yeah, and what's wonderful is once I made that decision, and as I've gone forward, being picked up and supported by amazing people in the community, people writing me letters randomly that I don't know. I mean, it's just wonderful to see the community support this idea, and it's something that I think anyone can get involved with.
Well, and what's exciting for me to kind of, I guess, foresee for you in the future is this could be just a great segue to fit in and do what you already were wanting to do, which is be a public defender or a defense attorney. There's no reason that you obviously can't parallel both of these.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of things in life that you look at and say, well, I can only do this to the exclusivity of something else. And in this case, it might be just a perfect fit.
And that's what I love about it. That's what has been so important to me is anyone get involved, and this can go anywhere. It can spread. It can help so many different types of people. I'm equal opportunity healing. I want to help anywhere I can.
That's a great phrase.
So,
what do you foresee? You're finishing out your second year of law school.
Yeah.
It probably shocks you that how did 2 years go by already?
It's been amazing.
But you're looking right at your third year.
Right.
What do you foresee geographically? Do you foresee you being in Spokane or moving on to Seattle?
So I love Spokane.
Because you grew up in Spokane.
I grew up here. I've been born and raised here, and as I'm getting older, I appreciate how much the city has done for me. And I think if you love something, I mean, the city's not perfect, but if you love something, you stay and you try to fix it and try to make it better. You don't run.
Right.
And I love Spokane, and so I definitely want to work here. I interned a while ago, actually, when I was in college, at the public defender's office.
Oh, you did?
And
So you did that.
I was that nerdy kid who go sit in on trials, just because it's fun and amazing. And I've always wanted to be a lawyer, and I want to be a lawyer in this city. I want to try to affect change in this city. It's my city.
Yep. Well, and I personally, being a big fan of Gonzaga and Gonzaga Law School, I think that your whole attitude really fits into the Jesuit
100%.
Mission.
And they've been so supportive of me, too. I mean, I've had teachers showing video clips of what I'm doing in class. I've had a number of administrators and staff people come up and just thanking me for the work that I'm doing. And it's because I chose Gonzaga because of those missions, because of those Jesuit ideals that we help people. And I think, it was being something in the law, we have a unique set of skills that not everybody has. And I think we are duty-bound then to use those skills in a way that affects change.
Too much is given, right?
Exactly.
It's so exciting. Can you give us a hint at some of the things post coming back from Florence that are maybe in the top 5, if you will?
Top 5 stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be partnering, working on with some of the Veterans Affairs people to really take a big tackle on homeless vets, as well as some issues around homeless people and how hot it gets here in the summer, ways of getting them clean and fresh water, especially to people that have children or even animals and such. I'm going to approach some of the women's shelters and things, seeing how we can best help with hygiene products and more diapers and things like that. Always doing food donations because, at the end of the day, people need to eat no matter where they are.
Right.
That's a very important thing. And then a couple other projects, teaming with some local businesses who have been offered some supports in terms of giving us tools and things like that to do massive cleaning projects, kind of like those shred days that people do, where people can just bring their trash, bring their garbage, and we're going to take care of it.
But they have the opportunity to help with the resources they have.
And we'll get it in specific neighborhoods.
I think you're also touching on here that's so important is oftentimes people indicate that they need to go well away from Spokane or any other city to do good. There's plenty of need right here. Plenty of need right here.
You walk outside your door, look right, look left, and there's a need somewhere. And it can be simple. It can be picking up a piece of trash. It can be, sitting next to some kid at lunch who doesn't have a friend. It can be anything.
Sather, again, the reason I was so excited to work within your busy schedule to have you come into the studio is you have that it factor that can really make change.
I hope so.
There are a lot of individuals out there that their goals are right and the desire is right, but I think you have the pieces of the puzzle to really be the face of this and the momentum of this. One more time for our listeners as to where folks can find you.
Yeah, healspokane.com. We have a support tab, and you can donate there. And you can also check out my team, the board members. They're amazing people, and they do a lot, and they help me so much. And so I couldn't do this without them. Or you can on Facebook, Heal Spokane, type it in, and we have a group there.
I think we're just at the beginning. We're going to hear so much more, and I hope you come back and update us on everything you're doing.
I appreciate
it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Business Talks is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Business Talks wishes you good business and a good day.